Welcome back to the Aces Let's Do It podcast. It's episode number 20. It's taken a few years, but we finally made it to 20. I'm your host, Dominic Archer, and over the last couple of episodes, we've been talking about the MLB and what I think will happen in their divisions. We've been kind of taking a look at who the best players were last year, who their top minor league prospect is, and what do I think of their squads, and does Zips, who was the main projectionist website that I've been using. Do they line up with my thoughts? And generally they haven't, but like George Carlin said, the reason why I talk to myself is because I'm the only person I agree with. But anyways, we've gone over all of the American League divisions, and we just went over the AL or NL Central rather. So we're going to head out east, and we're going to talk about the NL East, where this might be one of the most competitive divisions in baseball. Obviously, the Braves are the Braves. They're projected to win 94 games this year, and for good reason. This team is loaded. They've been able to lock up their young talent like Michael Harris and Austin Riley, and they traded for Matt Olson and Sean Murphy, and they have some of the best young pitching in baseball. And they have Ronald Acuna Jr., who in my eyes can be an all-time great. So obviously the Braves are, 94 wins is right on par with what I think they can do. They lost Dansby Swanson, who led them in WAR last year with 6.4, but Austin Riley, who has been just really good over the last couple of seasons. He kind of came out struggling a little bit, was able to find himself after that 2020 season, and has just been awesome. Hit 303 last year, in 2021. And this past year, while the average was down, and as well as the OBP, I mean, he was good. There's nothing else to say about him. He's just awesome. Had 38 home runs. He's figured it out, man. 142 OPS plus last year. He can also play third at a decent level as well. Also a solid hitter in the postseason. He's been able to, come up big. He's bounced around a little bit. His defensive numbers at third base, I'll take it back, actually haven't been great, but we know what he can do with the bat in his hand. So he'll probably be the leader this year for that squad. But like I said, they traded for Sean Murphy, who's a great catcher. They have Matt Olson on the squad already, who is one of the better first basemen in baseball. They were able to replace Freddie Freeman with him quite nicely. Like I said, with the pitching, Max Fried and Spencer Strider are two of the best young pitchers in baseball. Kyle Wright has also been good at points in his career. So this is a team that definitely has 94 win potential. They don't have a great farm system. They're 30th right now in all of baseball, but they've traded a lot with with the Athletics. They've basically given up all their top prospects to them. But Austin Riley's on the squad, Michael Harris is on the squad, Strider, and you go through all the young players they've already had on the big league roster. It's reasonable why they don't have a big farm system, but their number one guy is Jared Schuster. He's 24 years old, left-hander, so another left-hander that could be coming up to the big leagues sooner rather than later. Between AA and AAA last year, pitched in 27 games, 25 starts. Was solid, man. 329 between the two. Was able to strike out 145 batters and 140 innings, basically. So just another guy to come up and provide some innings for a team that really doesn't need it. But, like I said, this might be one of the most competitive divisions in baseball, and they're going to need all the help they can get. And the reason why it's one of the best divisions in baseball is because the Mets are right behind them, and they're projected to win 94 ball games as well. They won 101 last year and made some free agent acquisitions like Justin Verlander. And last year they made a big splash in getting Max Scherzer, and a few years ago Francisco Lindor. So they're spending all of the money in the world. And they also have one of the best prospects in baseball, and Francisco Alvarez, who came up to the big leagues last year. Number 3 prospect in baseball. He's 21 years old. He's got a 70 power grade. This guy can hit nukes, man. He played in 5 games this year and hit a home run and a double. So his big league slugging right now is 500. And this is just a complete ball club. They spent a lot of money for a reason because they think they can compete right now in this division. And it's going to be fun come September and late August when things are really starting to materialize into who's getting those playoff nods. And the Mets just have some great players. Francisco Lindor is obviously a Gold Glove caliber shortstop at times, and he's obviously great with the bat in his hand. Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, who hits all the home runs in the world. Edwin Diaz, right? I mean, this team is just stacked top to bottom. They also don't boast, a top farm system in baseball, but like I said, they have the number 3 guy in all of the major leagues, so I think they're doing okay. Um, and all their talents on the big league roster right now, anyways. So they're really looking to make some noise this year, and Steve Cohen is definitely not afraid to make moves and try and go all in. But we talk about the AL East being a competitive division with the Rays and the Yankees and the Blue Jays. But I mean, the Philadelphia Phillies went to the World Series last year. And like when you look at it, this is a good team. JT Realmuto, one of the best catchers in baseball, if not the best catcher in baseball, can play defense and hit. Right? They have Bryce Harper, who is just absolutely phenomenal in the postseason. They have Aaron Nola, who's a good pitcher. Zach Wheeler, who's a good pitcher. They have the number 6 prospect in baseball, and Andrew Painter, right-handed pitcher right now. And I believe JT Realmuto said this guy's got some big league stuff. And he's only 19 years old. So when you hear that, you think, oh, maybe they are going to be great. And speaking of Painter, last season between high A, and double A, he had a 156 ERA in 22 starts. He had 155 strikeouts and 103 innings. We talk about other guys who are 20 years old, like Elly De La Cruz, who might come. This is a guy who legitimately might make the big league roster before his 20th birthday, and for good reason. He's 6'7", 215 pounds. I take it back. His birthday is the 10th of April. But still, this is a guy we might see at 20 years old come up to the bigs and just dominate. His MLB ETA is 2023. He's got a 70 grade fastball, a 60 grade slider and control. This guy is no doubt one of the best pitchers in the minor league system. In fact, he is the number 1 rated prospect, a right-handed prospect and pitching prospect in baseball. The Phillies are projected to win 85 games. And I can understand it because both the Braves and the Mets are projected to win 90 games. But man, I tell you, this is, I in my AL West video, I talked about how exciting the Seattle Mariners were. I get the same kind of vibe from the Philadelphia Phillies. They have a couple of guys who could break out this year, one being Alec Boehm. He had all the talent in the world coming up. And, things have looked good from him at times, and things also haven't materialized. But, Kyle Schwarber was able to hit very well. Rhys Hoskins hit very well. You just go down the list, and there's just some good hitters. I'm excited to see what the Phillies can do. I think they're better than 85 wins. They don't boast the best prospect haul. They have 26 minor league system right now, but like I said, Andrew Painter is a stud, and he'll probably come up to the big leagues this year, really flash. And he could be one of the best pitchers on this Phillies team. And Aaron Nola is just a great pitcher who doesn't get talked about enough, and Zach Wheeler, like I said, both two really good pitchers. At 85 wins, I think unfortunately for them, they won 87 last year. It could be a wild card spot just because the Braves and the Mets are just so good right now. But if guys like Boehm take that next step and Painter, you could have a 90-win ball club on your team, especially because the Marlins and the Nats aren't going to be great. You could beat up on those teams and secure some wins and really make some noise in the East. And, let's talk about the Marlins and the Nats. The Marlins are projected to win 75 games. They just traded away Pablo Lopez, arguably their second best pitcher. Obviously Sandy is phenomenal. 5.7 WAR last year, Cy Young winner. The dude is just, he looks like a big league pitcher. There's nothing about him that you would change. He's 6'5", 200 pounds. He's 27 years old, and 32 starts, 228 innings, a 2.28 average or ERA rather. an ERA plus of 178. I mean, he was even getting MVP nods, and he was an all-star. I mean, this guy has the complete package. I know they just signed him to an extension, 5 years, 56 million. But if somebody throws the farm at this guy, at the Marlins for this guy, uh, uh, nobody would blame him. I mean, Sandy's just great, but having a great pitcher on a bad. So if Sandy can keep pitching at the level he does, I think they would really regret it if they didn't trade him when his potential is at its highest, because he ain't making a whole lot of money either for a guy who's arguably the best pitcher in baseball. And then they have Jazz Chisholm, who was just the face of MLB The Show 23. He's an electric player. He's got the blue hair, and he's got. I mean, he's just got that swagger about him, man. He is definitely one of the more exciting players in baseball right now. He's 25 years old, so he's got something, man. He's electric. He's all of these things. He can be a great player. This past year, 254 average, but an 860 OPS, a 535 slugging percentage. So he can hit bombs, 14 home runs in 60 games. So he'll be back from injury this year. So, they got something in Jazz. And I really like him. And they just traded for Luis Ariz. They did just give up, Pablo Lopez, who's their best, their second best hitter. But they were able to pick up the 2022 batting title winner in Luis Ariz, who had 316 last year. So, Miami's got some good players. They're projected to win 75 wins. With the way that the top of the division is, I think 75 wins is probably where they're at. They won 69 last year. We'll see. Their best prospect right now is Yuri Perez, number 13 in baseball right now. He's a right-handed pitcher. He's 19 years old, so he's probably a few years away, maybe a year and a half away from the big leagues. But this guy is projected to be a great pitcher. 70 grade fastball, 70 grade changeup. He was a international free agent signing in 2019. This past year, between A and double A, 17 starts at double A, 75 innings. He has struck out 106 guys, so he's got some great strikeout stuff. But they did just trade J.J. Bleday for A.J. Puck, so they're trying to maybe reshuffle the minor leagues a little bit right now. J.J. Bleday was a top 5 pick, I believe, and now they got a left-hander who's hasn't been great. But Max Meyer, a really intriguing young pitcher. Came up to the big leagues this year, 2-game starts, so you can't really look at that and go, yeah, this guy is going to be either good or bad. But they also have Sixto Sanchez, who pitched really well in 2020, and we really haven't seen him. This guy is a good pitcher when he's on, but we just haven't seen him the last couple of years. So if he can come up, he'll be exciting. And they also have Jesus Luzardo. So there's some young pieces on this Marlins team, but you just don't look at them and go, yeah, this is a playoff contender. And you definitely don't say that with the Nats. They traded away their 2 best players last year in Juan Soto and Josh Bell. And, they got a lot of really good players for them. They have James Wood down in the minor leagues right now, who they acquired in that trade. And he's 20 years old. He's a left-handed bat. He's 6'7", 240 pounds, hit .313 this past year between rookie ball, high A. The guy, he looks the part. And they also brought in C.J. Abrams to play shortstop. Things are looking up for the Nats, but they're not going to be great. By any stretch of the imagination, are they going to be good? They're projected right now to win less than 70 games, 64. They won 55 last year. So, the Nats are the Nats. And it's a shame that just to think 4 years ago, this was a world champion. But here they are, and, they're rebuilding. And they're in the midst of a hard rebuild. But they also have Mackenzie Gore, who they also picked up as well. So, again, they have C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel, Robert Wood, right? They have all of these nice young pieces who really could, break out and be something special. But they're not there yet. They're definitely not going to be anywhere near a playoff spot. It's a little unfortunate, but they put themselves in this spot. But like I said, they got a lot of young players. They'll figure something out. That's 64 wins. It's probably right. I mean, when you start talking about a team not winning 70 ball games, anything below that is just kind of a dart throw. Maybe Kyber Uis and C.J. Abrams and all these young players really play well and they win more than 70 games, but they also could go through a lot of growing pains and not be great. So we might see that as well. But just a quick review. I got the Braves winning the division, the Mets right behind them, the Phillies right behind them as well. I think they can win 88 ball games, and then the Marlins and the Nats. But I think that top of the division is definitely one of the more exciting in all of baseball, and I'm excited to watch those three teams duke it out come September and August. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win the AL East? And also let me know who you think is going to be the best and brightest prospect coming out of these teams, because we talked about quite a few that might be pretty special. My vote is Andrew Painter. I mean, at 19 years old, this guy's already projected to be in the big leagues. I mean, come on. So let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you again for listening to the Aces Let's Do It podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Archer. Peace.